If BTS chose the name Arirang right now, instead of one of those sleek English titles, then no, this wasn't just them putting on a Korean concept. Actually, it's the opposite. At the exact moment they became the most global version of themselves, they came back with the name that feels the most like home. And honestly, I think that's the boldest thing BTS could say right now. That's what I want to talk about today. Why Arirang? Why now? And why does this one title hit people so much deeper than just a cool album name? At first, I thought it was just symbolic. You know, a word that represents Korea, a title with weight, something meaningful for a full group comeback. But the more I sat with it, the more I felt like this name goes way deeper than symbolism. Because Arirang isn't just the title of a song. It feels more like the name of an emotion. Longing, distance, separation, endurance, return. And maybe more than anything, that feeling of saying, even so, I'm still going. That's why this title feels so powerful. It's not really about how far BTS has gone. It's about where they came from. And if you look at it like a story, it actually fits the harmonic circle so well. First, there's the familiar world. BTS were already at the top. Global records, stadium tours, influence everywhere. They had already reached a place most artists only dream about. But then comes the next step. What do you want after that? More success? Maybe this time, not exactly. Maybe what they wanted wasn't more speed, but more meaning. Not just expansion, but direction. A way to answer the question again. Who are we now? And maybe, after time apart, what does it mean for 7 people to stand together again under one name? Then comes the move into the unknown. And what's interesting is, for BTS, the unknown this time may not have been the world. It may have been themselves. Going deeper into your roots sounds beautiful, but it's not easy. Because the deeper you go, the more honestly you have to face who you are. And when the whole world already has expectations of you, that becomes even harder. There's always tension between the BTS people expect and the BTS that wants to speak in their own voice. And that's where this title becomes really brave. The second you choose a name like Arirang, questions follow. Is it too heavy? Too rooted in Korea? Will international fans understand it right away? Or will people think it's just symbolism for the sake of aesthetics? That's the risk. Because easy titles are easy for a reason. They explain themselves. But a name like Arirang asks people to come closer. It asks for context. It asks for sincerity. It says, if you really want to understand us, then you have to listen a little deeper. And I think that's exactly why it matters. Because what BTS gets from a title like this isn't just comeback impact. It's something bigger. It gives them a language to hold everything at once: time, distance, absence, change, return. It turns all of that into one story. And if you really think about it, Arirang was never a flashy word. It's not a word that rushes. It feels like the song of someone who has walked for a long time. Not someone running fast, but someone crossing hill after hill, step by step. Tired maybe, but still moving. So in a way, this title also feels like BTS saying, we're still here, and we've walked all the way to this point. And when they return, they don't return unchanged. That's another reason the title fits. This isn't BTS going backward. This isn't nostalgia. They're not trying to become their old selves again. They've lived through too much for that. They've changed. The fans have changed. Time has changed everything. So this comeback means something more than repetition. It's a return after transformation. And that's what Arirang carries too. Movement, leaving, returning. And the quiet truth that even if you walk the same road again, you're not the same person you were before. That's why I think this album title is really about beginning again. Not as a symbol of the past, but as a door into the next chapter. BTS didn't go back to the past. They brought the past with them into the future. And honestly, that's why this matters so much right now. Because people don't look to BTS just for hit songs anymore. People look to them for something emotional, something truthful, something that helps make sense of the time we're living in. Over the years, BTS has carried so many emotions for people: youth, anxiety, love, loss, comfort, self-worth, connection. And now maybe there's one more word joining that list: identity. After becoming global, can you still remain yourself? And that question is not just theirs. It's ours too. It belongs to teenage fans in Japan. It belongs to fans across the world. It belongs to anyone trying to survive in a world that keeps telling you to be prettier, cooler, softer, smarter, more likable, more polished. A world where it's so easy to drift into becoming the version of yourself other people prefer. And in the middle of that, Arirang feels like it's asking something very quiet, but very real. Who are you, really? Where did you come from? And what part of yourself do you refuse to lose? That's why I think this title can hit especially deeply for female fans. Because so many women know what it feels like to constantly adjust themselves to the world. To be strong, but not too strong. Soft, but not easy to dismiss. Free, but still acceptable. Always balancing. Always translating yourself. Always editing something. So when BTS stands on the biggest stage possible and chooses a name that is harder to explain, more rooted, more intimate, it feels like they're saying something powerful. We are not going to stay visible by erasing ourselves. And honestly, that line stays with me because that is such a beautiful kind of courage. And even the sound of the word Arirang carries something special. It feels soft, but not weak. Sad, but not hopeless. Beautiful, but with a kind of ache inside it. That emotional texture feels so close to what BTS has always done well. Something radiant and lonely at the same time. Something strong and delicate at once. Something that reaches far outward while still coming from somewhere deeply personal. That's why I don't want to reduce this to smart branding. It feels much more personal than that. It feels like a huge group choosing a huge name in order to tell a very private truth. So in the end, why Arirang now? Because BTS no longer needs to prove how high they've climbed. Now they can show how deeply they can return. And Arirang is the name of that depth. It's the name of roots. The name of endurance. The name of a song they can sing together again. The name of a promise that even in the center of the world, they won't lose themselves. Maybe what BTS is really saying through this title is simple. We came back, but not just to return. We came back knowing more clearly who we are. And that's why Arirang doesn't feel outdated to me. It doesn't feel heavy in the wrong way. If anything, it feels like one of the most elegant kinds of courage possible right now. To not hide your roots. To choose your own language in the most global space. Maybe that's exactly why BTS chose Arirang. And maybe that's why, when we hear the name, we pause. Because this isn't just an album title. It's a name that holds both where they've been and where they're going next. Arirang. It sounds like a song of sorrow. But really, it's a song for people who keep walking. And for BTS, right now, I honestly can't think of a more fitting name.